Hi. In contrast to David Ray Griffin, I try not to draw conclusions. I consider my role, I'm trying to be like a compiler of information, an archive of information, and I leave it to others to come up with theories and conclusions. However, what I want to mention today is one thing that I just think is so obvious that even I, trying to remain neutral, just can't help but conclude, and that is that the 9/11 Commission was obviously a whitewashing cover-up. And I have a couple just anecdotes that I think illustrate this. There's a very interesting article that came out in the Los Angeles Times in July 2004, where they had some inside sources inside the 9/11 Commission, some people on the staffs and apparently even one of the commissioners, who talked to them about Pakistan and what Pakistan was doing in relation to the Taliban and Al-Qaeda before 9/11. One of the quotes there was that before 9/11, Pakistani officials were, quote, up to their eyeballs, unquote, in collaboration with Al-Qaeda. And Bob Kerrey, one of the commissioners, 9/11 commissioners, he said in that same article, quote, there's no question Al-Qaeda got much more than financial support from the Pakistani government, unquote. And he went on to say this all came from information known to the U.S. before 9/11. And he said, all we're doing is looking at classified documents from our own government, not some magical source. So we knew it was going on, but we did nothing. Now, interestingly, this article came out, and then a month later, the 9/11 Commission final report came out. And in exact opposite of what Bob Kerrey said, they said that there was no foreign government who was involved in any kind of financial support with Al-Qaeda or the 9/11 plot. They downplayed dramatically what the 9/11 Commission actually knew. In fact, this article said that what the 9/11 Commission was going to present about Pakistan was just, quote, the tip of the iceberg, unquote, and that was what exactly happened. In fact, the Commission went even one step further. Instead of criticizing Pakistan and pointing out all these problems with their relationship with Al-Qaeda, they actually praised Pakistan and recommended that the U.S. give Pakistan more financial aid. So there's this, exact opposite between what we know, they know, and then what they're actually saying in their report. And we see this in other instances. For instance, the day of 9/11 itself, there was all these different accounts of what the fighters were doing and when they were doing it, and the 9/11 Commission account was dramatically different from all other previous accounts. Yet we had people, high-level officials from NORAD, who'd spoken in front of the 9/11 Commission under oath, and they had said things that were in dramatic contrast to what the 9/11 Commission finally concluded. Like, as an example, NORAD originally said that the last flight that crashed, Flight 93, that NORAD had been notified about that at 9:16. 9/11 Commission said that NORAD was notified that that flight had been hijacked at 10:07. So we're talking 50 plus minutes different between one account from NORAD and one account from the 9/11 Commission. And interestingly, many things that were said by these NORAD officials under oath, clearly contradicted, and even contradicted sometimes by the NORAD officials themselves. So my question is, why weren't those NORAD officials, if 9/11 Commission is correct, why weren't they charged for perjury? They clearly lied under oath. And for that matter, Condoleezza Rice, when she testified before the 9/11 Commission under oath, she stated very clearly that the August 2001 presidential daily briefing entitled Bin Laden Determined to Strike the U.S., that was historical information only. She even specified that there was no information in that briefing from after 1998. And then just about a week after she testifies, the public gets to see the entire contents of that. And we see that that's completely untrue. There was information from as recent as May 2001, with that date clearly on the document. And again, I have to ask why, if the 9/11 Commission was really serious and serious about taking people's testimony under oath, why wasn't Condoleezza Rice tried and convicted for perjury by the 9/11 Commission?
Yeah.
So, I have to agree with Harper Magazine. Someone may have the graphic here I've been seeing floating around, giant cover of a whitewash, the 9/11 Commission. Yeah, right there. See the giant can of paint? So obviously, there's so many unanswered questions, and I encourage everyone to keep pressing on this issue and keep trying to find the truth. Thanks.
Today you were testifying at the hearings being held by Cynthia McKinney at the Hill, and I was wondering if you could just share with us your impressions of how it went down there, and whether we are actually reaching the point 4 years later where we might actually have breakthroughs, where this much truth has probably never been spoken on Capitol Hill about 9/11.
Yeah, it was a very interesting briefing. I think the highlight for me and probably for most people was that 3 of the quote-unquote Jersey girls attended, Mindy Kleinberg, Monica Gabriel, and Lori Van Auken. And Lori Van Auken gave a very long talk. It was almost about an hour. And extremely detailed, filled with very meticulous research. And she really pointed out a lot of, I think, quite stunning things, and took a very tough line in regards to the 9/11 Commission. And if that doesn't make the news, then there's something wrong with our news. Because I thought it was, very eloquent. They even played the tape of her husband calling from the Twin Towers. I guess minutes before he died, and it was extremely moving. Regarding,
we can make the breakthrough. That was really
regarding to the second part of your question, I don't really know, but I've been told by some people that there's continuing developments, there's continuing things that are going to be released, and new incidents that are going to come to light. So I don't think we should look at this by any means as a closed story. I think that as time goes on, there's just more and more that comes out. And by and large, most of that is, I think, very damning information we've seen that's been coming out. So I expect to see more. And I'm going to keep continuing on this and continuing to try to learn more. And I hope everybody else continues with activism and pressing the issue. And unfortunately, that was the last question I've been allowed. So anyway, thank you very much.